Good to go.
Well, thank you. Thank you again, Carol and Josh and Lisa. And if there's anyone joining us for the first time, let me introduce myself. My name is Cheryl Cortese. I'm a national marketing director with the Juice Plus Company, and I have been with the company now for 32 and a half years, which just sometimes really amazes me because for me, it was going to be a part-time, way to create additional income in a time of very serious financial struggle. And I just fell in love with the whole thing. I fell in love with with the products. I fell in love with the people, the company. I loved their values and, what they stood for. And they have, really been that, I guess you would say, leadership team there at the corporate office that we all aspire to as far as caring for other people. They truly care for their partners, and that's always been a blessing. But I fell in love with the people. I fell in love with the whole idea. And so as a teacher, I decided that school was out and that this would be my full-time profession. And it's been an amazing adventure and continues to be. And I really believe it's a teaching profession because we share information. We share information with the people we love, those we come across on a daily basis, and we share information about good health and foundation of good health and good food. And of course, that's what Juice Plus is. It's just food. And then we share information as to how people can do that, share with others, and create that financial base, which almost always starts out as supplemental income and then can grow over time. As Josh said, it can be something that is exponential and continues to expand. So we've been gathering, as he said, like this every Thursday night for quite some time, and we'll continue to. And this group, we're a good, strong group, okay, of numbers, but we're still small enough for it to be interactive and to have question and answer, from time to time. Our goal has been here, the focus this year is really looking at our business as to what creates income, how do we access our compensation plan so that you utilize it to the fullest, so that you get everything that's available to you, because there's a tremendous amount available to you to create that foundation for a strong business, either, as I said, part-time supplemental income or grow into a career over time if you choose. And so tonight we're going to look at some of the basics. We often say that it's really important if you're going to be in business for yourself, and we are all independent contractors. You do not work for the Juice Plus Company, you work from them. You are the president of your own company, and you can design it as you choose and see fit. And then, of course, we come together to help each other do that. But if you're going to put together a really powerful business, then we talk about you want to focus on paying activities. What are the activities? Because we only have so much time during the day. There are just so many hours. And so the biggest task sometimes is directing and focusing your time so that you get the best return for that time. And so what are those paying activities that are going to really give you the greatest results in our marketing model? And we talk about, growing into the Comma Club, that's foundational, that we all want to grow into the Comma Club with then, and that's aside from the great title bonuses that come along to help you have that additional income as you begin to grow a business or help others do that. But it's for you to get to that Comma Club. And of course, then that comma can be behind any number as time goes on, but then be able to show someone else how to do it. So tonight I want to concentrate on some of the basics. We know that any paying activity means that whatever that activity is, it's going to result in acquiring a customer or a new partner or both. And so your activity is focused at really putting your arms around others in a sense and encouraging them or giving them the option to either be a customer or a team member or both. So foundational to this is the story, okay? And that's what we are. We're truly paid storytellers. So a huge paying activity and it's the activity you'll see scattered through all the other activities, is the Juice Plus story. That's your product story and your business story. And we'll talk about that this evening. And then, of course, it's how to approach, invite, create conversation with people, how to build for the events that, again, together we tell the story. And then, of course, how do you ask the question, or how do you close as you invite people or give them the option for the product or the business. So we're going to start with the story. Before I do, though, I just want to give you a little update on some things. And it's going to be very exciting this week for everyone in our field. We, as you know, have really changed in a sense. We've made a transition from our marketing model last year to one this year that's been much more simple. We've done it many times on this call, going through the new marketing model, you might say, where we use 100% as the base, and that's very simple to explain. But there are going to be some added features which you're really going to like, and that'll be announced this week. So our leadership will be on a call, all QSSCs and above, on Tuesday, and then it'll be put out to everyone in the field. So you might say it'll be your 4th of July surprise, okay, for this coming week. But there's some things in our marketing model which are going to really, you're going to love. As we put the model together over the past year, the plan was, as we went, to see how it played out, you might say, in the field, and then look at the things that were going really well, and if there were things that needed adjustment, they would be adjusted. And so you're going to see some things that you're just going to love. And I just wanted to let everybody know that, just give you a little warning and to watch for it, that it's coming, because it's going to be very exciting. So moving right along, we want to really look at foundational for your business, where you put your time, how you tell your story, how you teach others, how do you approach, how do you build for events, how do you close, and we're going to go through all those over the next few weeks, and the pay plan or the compensation plan will be done in between those, as we do every other week with compensation plan. But let's take tonight stories, because again, that is the foundation. I think one of the reasons people love this call so much on Thursday night is we get to hear stories. We get to hear different stories, and doesn't it feel good? I mean, as I'm listening tonight to our speakers, just the smile on their faces, the good feeling that you know comes from what they're sharing with you, the good feeling that comes with sharing with others and seeing them do well. So people love the stories, and the stories are what they identify with, because basically when you're sharing with someone else, what you want them to hear or feel is, I'd like that for myself, for whatever reason. It might be that they, from a health standpoint, they want to have a safety net, you might say, so that they always stay healthy. They might want to enhance their health. They might want to help their body deal with whatever it's dealing with, because certainly Juice Plus helps you or your body handle whatever it has to handle much more efficiently. And I think that's the key in describing the product, is it's going to give your body the ability to deal with whatever it has to deal with, or to be at the highest level of health possible, because the body knows how to do that with the right input. So when you heard Lisa say we don't make any health claims, what she means is that the body is what does the work. The body is the magic. I think we're really meant to be healing machines, but we're able to provide the food through Juice Plus that gives that body that ability. So let's talk about the story and your story, and also you really helping that new team member that you have capture their story quickly. Because for a lot of people, their biggest fear is, where am I going to go? What am I going to do? What am I going to say? And what am I going to say is usually the biggest concern. So if you think about sponsoring and inviting someone to be a partner with you, you really become the model. and they're going to really watch whether you realize or not, or whether even they realize. They're going to look to you to know what to do. So we often had this saying, tell, show, try, do. I'm going to tell you, I'll show you, you'll try it, you'll do it. Okay, so you want to be going through that pattern all the time with that new person. I'll tell you, I'll show you. So show you is the model. Your story is one that as you put it together, you want it to be simple, you want it to be short. It's the first version of your story is really what we kind of call the elevator version. If you're going to get on an elevator and get off 30 seconds later, and you had to tell your whole story, you want it all in that little small amount of time, that 30 seconds. It's really like you might refer to it as the commercial or the advertisement for everything that's going to follow. And if your story is the same each time, then all of your team can depend on what they know you're going to say as they introduce you to others or introduce you to their contacts. So the story is vital, and the story wants to come together immediately, and you want to help your new team member put that story together immediately. So really and truly, the story is not, and it's not even as much as it being about you, but it's being about what that other person is going to hear that they can identify with, so that they can have that thought or that feeling. I'd like that for myself, or I'd like that for however they identify it. So what I do with a new person is, and they've just become a team member or a partner, because teacher was my background, I have what I refer to as my homework sheets, and many of you are aware of those. There are 3 of them. We can send them to you online, or you can, get them very easily. And it's really very simple, but I like the simplicity because it does give you a framework to work from as you help someone discover their story. So when I have someone that is just starting, the first thing I'll say is, okay, let's, we're gonna sit down, and I'm gonna be your secretary. Okay, I'm going to help you, and we're gonna put your story together. And so the first thing I'm going to ask, and it's the first question on this, is, what attracted you to the Juice Plus product? Well, what was it? Because what you're looking for is what got the person, what made it attractive. And I usually want, 1 sentence or so that I can put that down. And I help them really gather their thoughts in that way, so that as they put their story together, we can condense it to where it's simple and concise, but yet tells it all. And so why did you decide what attracted you, and why did you decide that it's something you wanted to consume or something you wanted for your family? And then why would you continue to take it forever? Because as soon as a person makes a decision that they are going to take Juice Plus, even before it arrives, they have a story, because they have a desire. And that desire is what people hear. People hear potential, they hear desire, they hear emotion. As a matter of fact, people listen to your emotions before they do your words. The emotions are what attract, and they don't have to, it doesn't have to be fireworks off the top of your head, okay? But just authentic, heartfelt emotion is what really captures people. And you heard in the story tonight, and it's very common right now. As I've said many weeks running at this point, we're in a high demand market. Everyone is focused on their health and the health of their family, so they want to make sure they're doing the very best we can. So our story is very, very powerful right now, and it's very validated through the research. So why would you take the product forever with that new person? Is because when you share your story, you want to pre-frame the conversation that this is something that you do for life. I plan to eat 3 meals a day, from now on, and have my whole life. So, it's food, and food needs to be consumed consistently and on an ongoing basis. So you want to lay the foundation for that framework, okay, as you help that person put their story together. So to help them really gather their thoughts, so that as they share with others, they can keep it really condensed and short as to why they were attracted, why it made sense, why they're taking it. Now, if they've had something that they've noticed about their body, basically, they could say, well, I've noticed that so-and-so, such and such improved, or I work out all the time. Now, this is not me. Okay, I work out once in a while, but if it's like Carol, work out all the time. And I wish I worked out all the time like Carol did. But if they say, and I've really noticed that I have more endurance, or things of this nature, maybe someone, you heard tonight, improvements in physical. But it doesn't have to be anything real specific. It can just be that I feel like, someone told me today, it was one of my customers, I feel like there's just a shield around me, or an armor, you might say, that my health is protected because I'm on Juice Plus. So, those types of things, that would be the type of thing that you would share. At this particular time, and I mentioned this before, if you happen to see our Tuesday night event for the whole organization, is that we live in a very sensitive time. People are sensitive about many things. They're sensitive about, all that's going on in the world, both from a health standpoint, a social, standpoint, an economic standpoint, and regulatories are sensitive as well. So it's very important that we do our best to stay away from connecting our product to anything that would be controversial. The virus right now is very controversial. So, you don't have to. Someone can be worried about what's happening and say, I'm doing everything that I possibly can do that I feel like might be protective. But you don't want to connect it to, if you do this, you're going to whatever, okay? As long as it's not connected to something that is controversial, like the virus, vaccines, political issues, anything of that sort, that it takes the place. If you've lost your job, here's the answer. You really want to be a little more subtle about the fact that it is something that can bring these good things to people if they choose to participate or put their time into it. So just to, be, I guess, a little mindful would be the statement here, because regulatories are very sensitive at this time as well. But being 50 years old as a company, having a real simple story, and our product being a simple product, but yet very powerful, it's an easy story to tell, and you tell it through your emotions. People can't, even regulatories, can't take issue with your feeling about something as far as, your experience or what you hope your experience to be. Now we go on to the business story, and from the very beginning, before a person, receives their product or receives their first check of any type or any amount, they have a business story. And so this is something I want to capture with that new person immediately as they get started, because their product story, they're going to share with people what? Their feelings, why they were attracted, why it made sense, why they decided that they were going to take it or wanted it for their family. It can include their desire for good health, their fears of, whatever. For me, it was the fear that those health monsters that took my parents out very early in life, and a lot of the family that, was part of my genetic makeup. I was very fearful of that. And I felt like those monsters were nipping at my heels, I guess you would say. And I haven't had that feeling for years and years now. So, it could just be they want that protection. But whatever it is emotionally that fits into that product story, that's what you want to help capture in a short amount of time. And the same thing goes for the business. So the questions on this would be things like, what attracted you to our business? What is it, that makes this appealing? And it's really interesting because, first of all, whatever attracted you is going to be a very good foundation as you tell your story to that person for what will attract them. And whatever it is, whether it's income that you, for whatever reason you needed it. I wanted to be able to send my children to college. I could not do that on a teacher's salary. And so I really wanted to be able to have that additional income to do the things that were very important to me as far as my standards for my family. But what I was really looking for was freedom of choice. And freedom of choice comes in many different scenarios. It could be additional income for vacation. It could be additional income to really help meet financial needs or pay bills at the end of the month, even if it's just, to cover one bill, take away the house note, whatever with this. But everybody wants that freedom of choice and that breathing room, you might say, financially. So for the person to share what they see for themselves is the potential of what's here. So when you have your new team member and you say, what attracted you to the Juice Plus business? The first response I might get is, well, I love the idea of people being healthy and being able to share this with others. And that's many people. But underneath that is always going to be a financial desire. There's always going to be something. And if finances are not a pressing issue, it could be in the direction of, I want to be of contribution and service. I want to have more time so that I get to enjoy the things that I have been able to provide for my family financially, but I have to really work all the time to do that. There are many different reasons that people want freedom of choice, but it's helping them identify that in the very beginning so that you have a short, concise description of it. So what attracted you? Why did you decide to become a partner? So those two really you're getting at the same thing. Is what is it that they see for themselves? So that's really my next question is, what do you want to achieve for yourself and your family? If this could be anything you wanted it to be, if you could, look at your financial choices and this could be anything you wanted it to be, what would it be? What would it do for you? What is it that you would like to see happen? For most people, it's just that breathing room, you might say, if finances are an issue. But it's usually somewhere in the neighborhood. If I ask something like, if you went to the mailbox and there was a check, what would really make you smile? And for most people, starting at somewhere around $1,000. If $1,000 solid every month came in, that would make a difference. That would give them more freedom of choice. And so that's why we teach the Comma Club, is so that we can really help a person get there and be really stable there, aside from all title bonuses. But you want to capture in that story, and again, they've not received one check, they've not been here but a few minutes, they've signed the line or done their application, but you want to know what their dreams and desires are. And what they're going to identify with is the potential of what you've shared. And the potential is what you saw for yourself. What do you see for yourself? The brand new person can go to a brand new person and say, I was attracted because this is what I see and this is what I feel like it can do for myself and my family, because this is what we want. And so it's potential that's going to attract people, not amounts as far as income is concerned, but potential. So if you can help that new team member capture that desire, that potential of freedom of choice, then they're going to really have that foundation, which is a paying activity, to share their story and to be able to do it to where others will listen. And remember, every time anyone's listening to anything you have to say about your product story, your business story, what's really, in the back of their mind, what we're all thinking is, what's in it for me? When you talk about health, you're listening with those ears that say, and that mind that says, what's in it for me? Well, if you hear people having good results, and if you hear that they feel good and they're healthy and whatever, you want some of that, because we all want to be healthy. And the same goes for the business story. The person is listening with the thought of, what's in it for me? And so again, it's you sharing whatever attracted you, and then you helping them to form that story of why they're attracted. You're sharing the potential of what you see for yourself so that they can step into that potential. Because everybody wants something in that area of freedom of choice. So this I feel, and we've been teaching this, of course, for years and years and years, but if you can get that story, help that new person have that story in place, and really what you're looking for is their feelings, their desires, their hopes, and their fears. And in that, help them be able to express it simply, quickly, with heart, and with great authenticity. Then it's magical, because it really, you're not asking anyone to buy or to join. You're just sharing and giving that information that the option is there. And so this is probably the most important foundational piece, from a business standpoint. Now, that story will then stretch out into many different areas as far as being able to put a team together. When we come together on Thursday night like this, the first half of this event, which is the story time, is really an event that is going where people come to help each other bring their teams together. You can bring a new person to a call like this, the first half, and they're going to hear stories that will validate over and over anything that you've shared, whatever your story is. The fact that there are other stories and people have had good experiences with them are going to continue to validate. And that's why events are so important. It's why events become a huge part of the basic paying activity, skills of basic paying activities. Events are definitely major in that. But what happens at any event? There's stories, okay? And the stories are what people hear and listen to, and really that's where they step into the picture, you might say, and there's a picture created that they can connect to. Now, of course, in events, there's also information. If we look at this particular aspect of a Thursday night, it's to continue to give information that's going to give you foundational instruction as to what is going to work best for you in the most efficient manner. If we think about events, certainly the events give information, inspiration, stories, always stories usually. And if you think about the events that are already in place, like Monday night and Thursday night, if I use these two, our Monday night call, as you all know, has been going on now for over 30 years, every Monday night. Tradition is created that way, but so is dependability. You want your entire team, as you grow them, and this is something you want to share with people as you help them put a business together, this is a strong infrastructure here in place. And that this is provided to help people grow and grow quickly. We don't all have to come to this and reinvent our whole businesses from scratch, because there's so much here that's provided for everybody. But traditions are very important. The tradition of telling your story exactly the same way every time creates a dependability for people that are growing up. They know what to depend on. It also becomes a model of how it's done. Things like the Monday night call would be, again, a tradition that is always there, which creates a feeling of safety. But it also is a source of connection, which is very important. That's one of the first things, too, when I start a new partner, is if you're going to really look at what's really important as far as you building is consistency of activity, whatever amount you choose, whether it's 30 minutes a day, weaving it through your day. Some people like to take, the segment of time. Others like to weave it. I like to weave it through the whole day. Choosing as I come across people or as I talk to people or the time frames that I want to put it into. But consistency of effort every day is very important. And the other things that's huge is stay connected. So the traditions that are in place are for you to stay connected and help others stay connected, because again, that's where the energy comes from. And this is a business that runs on emotional energy, emotional intelligence. This business is where people connect through feeling, and then all of the information follows. You know, today with technology, you can, at a click of a button, see every research, paper that's ever been published on Juice Plus. You can look at so many different things. The information is there, but the information doesn't mean anything until the emotional connection has been created. And that's created through the story, the reinforcement of events so that the stories continue to be told because they continue to revalidate, and then the conversations. We're all about conversation. You know, this really is my whole career has felt like I'm just making friends. I feel like I've never worked really a day at this because the joy of it is it's making friends. It's watching and enjoying and being part of the success of others from a health and a business standpoint. And then just modeling what you want to see repeated, because people are creatures of habit, first of all. That's why habit is very important, or tradition is very important as far as events. But they also, we're all social beings. And so right now we're a little, we're a little caged, you might say, as far as being homebound and for a lot of the time. But we're very fortunate to have the virtual world that we have today, because it's made it a lot easier. And certainly from a business standpoint, it's made it very, very efficient and effective in a time, as I said earlier, which we have a very high demand market. So next week, we'll go over basically again, we'll look at the compensation plan again. There'll be a lot of new things that you're going to be very excited about as far as additional things that you'll be paid on. Simplicity, they're continuing to simplify. So you don't want to miss next week, and you want to bring new people with you if possible, because it's going to be very exciting. And we'll look at that compensation plan again. And the more you see it, the more comfortable you'll become with it. And as Josh said, I thought somebody was trying to ask me to speak a foreign language. But once you realize how you're paid, and you begin to realize that the layers and the various ways that you're paid and the security of it, that's the thing that really, I think, touched me more than anything, is when I realized that I was in control of my own security and my own future, and I could write the check over time to be anything I wanted it to be. It's very, very exciting. And the compensation plan is a big part of you beginning to acquire that. And really, the belief in our business is what people hear in your voice and in your heart. And that comes from experience with the product, because that will certainly create that belief and emotion. And also continuing to experience how our business works, talk about how our business works. Really, skills are simple. We don't have to know lots and lots of different things. We have to just know a few simple skills and do those really, really well, and it be repetitive over and over, because then it becomes intrinsic. And that's really a physical thing. It's physiology, that when you do something over and over and over, it becomes what we here referred to as, it becomes second nature to you. And so that's why the continuing to talk about how do you help someone capture a simple story from their heart, tell it the same way always, tell it often, create the exposure, learn the skill of building for events. And then it's just a matter of, how do you talk to people, listen to what they have to say and hear, and what their desires and dreams and fears and hopes are, and then shape what you have around it. And we do that really in friendship, as if we develop friendships with others. What is it? To identify with what things are you have in common, to listen to the feelings, to share feelings, to share desires and hopes and dreams, and have the joy of really being support to each other. And this is in friendship. It really transfers very, very well into business here. And that's, I think, one of the reasons we have the great community that we have, and why we all have, those of us who come, we stay. And I've been here 32 years, and I'm looking forward to the next 32. And I can tell you, you know, as we have grown over the years, people come and they stay, and that's a huge testament to this company as well as to the field that's come together and the community that has evolved. So I think we're out of time here tonight. But once again, hope everybody has a wonderful weekend as we experience the 4th of July. I think a very important time to really look at the blessings of what that means, and, you know, how fortunate we are, and how that's something we want to really always hopefully hold to the forefront, is that we do live in a nation where we can enjoy the freedom of the pursuit of entrepreneurial activities if we choose. So for everyone on the line, have a wonderful weekend, and just really keep your ears tuned next week, because you're going to love what you're going to hear. So I'm going to turn it back over to Carol, and I want to say good night to everyone, and just always enjoy being here, and bring everyone to the call next week. They're going to love what they're going to see. Okay. Thanks, folks.
I can't wait. Thank you so much, Cheryl, for sharing.
Thank you, Cheryl.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Carol.
You're welcome.